Grandpa Nooby reporting for duty with some real controversy here. Going negative is not always a bad thing. In fact, often it's not a bad thing. And I'm going to explain that to you. First of all, we have to understand one thing. KD, kill-death ratio, the thing everybody wants to compare and boast about with their friends, it's not a measure of skill. I mean, for the most part, it's not. Now, if you're looking at the pros, if you're looking at guys that play TDM all the time, then yeah, probably a measure of skill, but it's not a measure of skill for most of us who play solos. Reason being, anyone can camp. Anyone can camp and have a positive KD. Anybody can avoid the objectives, ignore them, and have a positive KD. And anybody can camp around the hard point, for example, not get on it, not help your team, and end up with a positive KD. And to prove my point one time, I actually said I was going to go for the most kills I could possibly get in Modern Warfare 3, going to play hardpoint, avoid the objective captures, do all the things that narcissistic KD fiends do, and I ended up with more than 100 kills. I've done that 2 or 3 times, each time more than 100 kills, and I usually don't get anywhere near that when I'm playing the objective. So I don't think KD is a measure of skill for a solo player just playing mosh pit type games. Now, if you're playing hardpoint, kill confirmed, the domination, I slipped my mind for a second. I think the win-loss ratio is the best measure for solo success, and that's a very difficult score to get above 1 for those of you who do not team. So what that means is how many wins over how many losses. If it's greater than 1, as a solo, you win more times with whatever team you're dealt than you lose. Currently, Grandpa's is at 1.2, which doesn't sound like a great win-loss ratio, but actually when you consider I go for camos, I think that win-loss ratio is actually the best measure of success of a successful solo player, unless you only play TDM. Then it's a combination of win-loss ratio with the kill-death. Third point I'm going to make is that the people who are slayers, they often cause the team to lose. Those are the guys that run around and get 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 plus kills in a game. And the reason they cause a team to lose in objective-based play is because they flip the spawns. So you should have a strategy, at least in your mind, even if you don't coordinate with the rest of your team, which you can't do because you're a solo, they're a random, for how you're going to win the game. And the strategy everybody should have in your mind, especially for something like Dom, is get A or C and B and never go in the other flag. Never try for the other flag, because if you do, you're going to flip the spawn. So you have something called map control. And even new players can participate in maintaining map control. You maintain map control, you take, for example, C and B, never go into A, you will maintain map control and you will win. So slayers, they're going to be running into A. They're going to be trying to get as many kills as they can. Like I said, narcissistic behavior, and they're going to cause the spawns to flip. They're going to lose map control for you. And rather than being as good and skillful of a player as they want you to think they are based on KD, they're actually a very bad player. So there you have it. I'm going to say it. Campers do the same thing. If you're camping and just kind of, I call them Muppets, if you're Muppeting around the hard points, you're going to cause the same thing. You're going to cause the spawns to flip, especially in hard point, because you got to move with a hard point, and you're going to actually defeat your team more than an enemy has any chance of doing. What you do need to do, though, is have a loadout for each map or mode. I always carry thermites for hardpoint and Dom, proximity mines for everything else. You don't have to be a pro to consider map control, so think about that. And third, feeding enemy streaks is an absolute myth. So if somebody says, oh, you're feeding the enemy streaks. Well, yeah, you are, maybe, but you can streak proof yourself, and all the members of your team, whether you know them or not, can streak proof themselves. For example, in Modern Warfare 3, all you need is the hacked IFF strobe gear, and you are immune from the helicopter, the VTOL, and from the turret. So people cannot kill you with those. So this business about feeding enemy streaks because you're trying to get to the objective is just a myth perpetrated by people who don't know how to play objective-based games or don't know how to equip themselves. All right, well, so let's move on. I think we should have a call to action here. And the call to action, this is aimed at Activision. I think KD should only count for team deathmatch and maybe search. And I realize that the pros hang KD on every mode that they play when they're competing. But let's think about that for a second. Pros are different from us, obviously. Pros are teams that practice over and over and over. They practice situations, they practice strategies, and most of all, they practice the maps that are going to be in the competitions. So, yes, they have Slayers and Hardpoint, for example, which we really can't have in solo playing with randoms because you haven't coordinated the strategies. And what do the Slayers do? Well, the Slayers hold down lanes. They keep people from getting to the hardpoint, for example. They keep people from getting to the objectives and search and destroy too. But the Slayers will still get on the hardpoint until somebody that's designated to soak in the hardpoint gets to it, okay? So this notion of, oh, but I'm a Slayer, I'm helping the team. No, you're not. What you're doing is you're flipping the spawn because you haven't coordinated the lanes, you haven't coordinated the map, you haven't coordinated who's going to soak, you haven't coordinated anything. So anybody that calls themselves a Slayer who's not playing, for example, on a team. Now, if you're teamed up with people, we have Slayers in my streams. We know they're Slayers. They know not to flip the spawns. They know to hold the spawns and hardpoint. They know what they're doing. But in solos, you're not going to find that because you're not coordinating with the other people on the team. They're just with you for a game or two, and then you'll never see them again. I think the second call to action is that the score for success on objectives should be increased. For example, in hardpoint, you soak a minute on the hardpoint, you should have a score equal to 15 kills. You have 2 minutes on a hardpoint, you should have a score equal to 30 kills, and so on and so forth. And that would encourage people for running around, flipping spawns, doing that sort of thing just to get kills so that they can tell themselves they're a good player. When everybody knows, they probably are not. Even on the teams I play on, occasionally we have people that camp for kills because they want to get higher on that leaderboard. And the measure of success isn't necessarily how high you are on the leaderboard, but how well you did for the team. And you can see Grandpa went negative here, but he had 6 captures. And when you take a look at the stats, you'll see how many defends I had. I was successful, in my opinion, on that game. As always, I went negative by 3 there. As always, please like and subscribe. Helps me, helps the family. And return fire from you people who think KD matters is quite welcome. I would love to hear from you. Help me, help the family, like I said, with like and subscribe. See you in the streams because I enjoy playing with you, and I enjoy playing good COD with people that enjoy doing the same thing as me. Cheers and peace.